Hi, it's Ingrid. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. It's time for my February reading wrap up. Personally, I feel like this has been a really good reading month for me, given that I didn't start reading until February the 12th. So it's only been like half a month of reading, and I read the same amount of books as I did in January, and that was like the whole month, so I've been doing pretty good. I also really enjoyed the books I've read, so I'm very happy with my reading and also very excited to continue reading in March. So if you watched my last video, I did a prompt jar choosing my TBR for the month. So I already have my TBR picked out, so when this is over I can start reading my March TBR, and I'm so excited for it. I'm going to start by telling you all about the books I read in February, give you my thoughts, my ratings, and everything. So let's get started. So the first book I read in February was Poirot Investigates by Agatha Christie. I started this February 12th and finished it on the 13th. I have a video of me reading this and two of the next two books up already, and yeah, I filmed every book I read, so the last two books I read will be in the next video. But this one, I've been really in the mood for a mystery recently. Like, I was going to read and I had like other ideas for which books I was going to pick up in that video, but all I wanted was an Agatha Christie novel, so I picked this one up. This one isn't like the others. This one is a collection of 11 short stories about Poirot and Hastings, just like the others, but you obviously didn't get as much in this one. I think I'm going to start off by saying that this wasn't my favorite Agatha Christie book. As of the ones I've read right now, this is my least favorite, but I still did enjoy it. Agatha Christie is obviously a well-known author. She's a really good writer, and she's like the queen of mystery, I would say, like crime mystery. And it's very cozy. Like, people talk about like thrillers and mysteries. A lot of people talk about them like as one genre. I like to split them up because this isn't a thriller. There's nothing thrilling about it, but it is mystery and like crime solving, and I really enjoy that. And I think the way Agatha Christie writes is so good. Like, I'm always pulled into the story and I love it so much, and it's just so comforting in a way. And like, I love a good mystery, I love a good crime story, and I think Agatha Christie really does that so good. But even if the writing is really good, the storytelling in this one is always good, but since it's a short story, well, multiple short stories, you don't get the details as much as you do in her normal novels. So I think I was missing that a bit. It kind of felt a little rushed, and I understand that since each short story was between 50 and 30 pages, you don't get too much. But I was missing the details. I felt like the victim came to Poirot, told their story, he was just thinking, maybe investigating a little bit, and then the crime was solved just like that. And that was a little too fast for me. I like the process of the investigation, seeing him like try out different things. I love the interrogations, him and Hastings talking to each other. I like the relationship between Poirot and Hastings that you get through the investigations, and all of the like Hastings trying things out, Poirot doing it his way. And I was missing that in this because we didn't have time for it when it was so short. And also, yeah, like I said, like the banter that you usually get between Poirot and Hastings, there was no room for this in that book because of the short stories, and I was really missing that. But I also really love the characters though, so even if I didn't get all of that, I did get something out of it. And like, Poirot is definitely a character. I love him. He's so funny, and he's like, the way he's expressing himself is something I really enjoy, and you got a little bit of that in this one, but I think I like the full-length novels more because you get more of everything. Like, even with all of that, I did enjoy seeing like all of the different cases and like getting to see like multiple things And especially, I am a person with a very low attention span, but I feel like usually that's not a problem in Agatha's books, so I didn't need that, but it's still a fun, easy read. I think I would have liked it a little bit more if the cases were like connected in the end, that there was some connection between them, but it wasn't. They were like 11 completely separate short stories. They didn't have anything to do with each other except for the characters, Poirot and Hastings. I want to say that Poirot, sometimes he's a little mean to Hastings, and I understand why he gets offended. Like, I think Poirot is so funny, but the way he talks to Hastings sometimes, like, I understand why he gets annoyed. Because he's always, like, something I like about Poirot is that he lets Hastings try. He lets him come with his explanation, and, like, he listens to him. But sometimes I feel like he's making Hastings feel stupid. And, like, if someone did that to me, I would be so annoyed. But there's also such a love between them that I'm obsessed with them. Yeah, did I tell you my rating? I don't think I did. I think I ended on a 3.25 with this book, so it's not bad. I really did enjoy it, and I'm glad I read it, and I'm very excited to continue this series. I really enjoy the whole world of this series, so I will be continuing that soon. I have the next book in the series, so I will be reading that as soon as I get the chance. Unfortunately, that's not on my March TBR, but you never know. When do I ever follow my TBR? I always end up picking up one of these, so that's probably going to happen again. Do I have anything else to say about this book? Like, I don't want to forget about something. Wait, I did tab it one place. 2 places, actually. I think this one is pretty funny, because Hastings said, "No, indeed, it's a hard nut to crack." And Poirot's response to that was, "Oh, as far as that goes, I am very good at cracking the nuts, a veritable squirrel." I feel like he's the only one who would talk about himself that way. And I'm just picturing him in the show, like with the actor doing a little smile and being like, "Oh," I don't want to explain it. What was the other thing I tabbed? I actually don't remember. I feel like no one else is gonna find this funny, but I'm gonna read this thing. Reading it back, I feel like no one thinks it's funny except for me, but I'm just gonna read it. I liked it. Poirot had just finished carefully straightening the cups and saucers which our landlady was in the habit of throwing rather than placing on the table. And I like picturing things like her just messing everything up and Poirot going crazy because he needs everything to be perfect. But yeah, that's all I have to say about this book for now. We're gonna move on to the next one. Reminder, if you want more of my thoughts while reading the books, watch my last video. No, wait. It was the reading a page for every time I picked up my phone video. I'm reading this and the next 2 books in that video. So if you want to see like the whole process of me going through the book, go watch it. The next book I read in February was Percy Jackson and the Sea of Monsters. I'm a big Percy Jackson fan. I did not grow up reading Percy Jackson like a lot of other people did. So I think I picked up the first book like early last year. And then when the show came out, watched that and I fell even more in love, so I've now picked up this one. I don't know how to like talk about the book because I don't want to like spoil it, because it is a series, so I can't tell you too much about this story. But the Percy Jackson series is basically about Percy, a young boy who has kind of had a tough life. He gets kicked out of a lot of schools because of his struggles with behaving. That's wrong to say, but that's the way the schools see it. When you like read the story, you get more of his perspective of it, and you see that that's not what's happening at all. But he's like struggling in school and struggling with finding friends. Eventually he finds out that he is a demigod, and he gets taken to Camp Half-Blood, where he meets a bunch of other demigods, and he goes on a quest to in the first one to like basically save camp in a way from war. Not even just camp, the world. And he goes on a quest with his friends Annabeth and Grover, and in this book we continue after that quest on his new adventures with more friends, more people, things are happening. I don't want to go too much into the plot of this book because I don't want to spoil anything. So we're just gonna jump straight into my review. I rated this one 4.25 stars. I like this one more than the first book. I don't know if that's just because I'm more into the story now. I understand like the world and the characters and I know things now. So that might have helped. But what am I gonna say? What am I gonna say? I need to think, because if I don't I will be like, and it's really annoying when I edit it. So what I really like about this book is that it jumped straight into the story. There was no build-up. We saw what was happening immediately and we were like into the action of it immediately, which is always good because I get bored very easily. I tend to have more patience with books than I do with other things, but still this one was like straight on and I like that. I think this book was very quickly. That didn't make any sense. I was reading it very quickly. It was very fast paced and the writing is good and very easy to connect to and just stay interested. I don't know exactly what it is about the writing that makes it that way, but like I'm never bored. Like even with the like filler pages, I feel like there's no filler pages, but like when you're not in the immediate action, there's still something interesting going on, and just the way the story is told makes me sucked into the story, and I really enjoy that. There are some things about the book that annoyed me, but that's not really the book's problem. It's just that some of the characters, like, I don't remember his name, but the person who was like in charge of the games at camp, I hate those types of characters. That's a lie. That's a lie. But like, it reminds me of the way Snape bullies Harry, like this person bullied Percy, and I love Snape as a character. I don't love him. That's not what we're talking about. I'm just gonna say I'm not a Snape apologizer. I think he's bad, but he's an interesting character. Like he's good as... I don't want to call him a villain. Maybe I am a Snape apologizer, but we're gonna move on because I'm gonna get into things that doesn't matter. I didn't like the way that we always have that type of character in these books. I think it's annoying. Thankfully, it wasn't too much of it. I think, I don't know how to say his last name. Rick, the author of these books, are really good at not taking too long on each thing. So like, it never gets boring. He knows when to move on. And that's something I really enjoy. And also the whole island thing, I'm gonna say I wasn't the biggest fan of that. With the guinea pigs. Could have done well without it. And also Clarice, is that her name? I might be completely wrong, but what were you doing with Grover? Why were you doing that? There's no point for it. Like, I was so annoyed at her throughout the whole book, but especially at that moment. And if you've read the book, you know what I'm talking about, but like, the anger that I was feeling. But when everything comes down to my actual feelings towards the book, I really loved it. I think it's great. It didn't give me the 5-star feeling, and it wasn't like a... Like 4.25 is a pretty good rating, I would say. And I'm enjoying it, and I think the more connected I get to the story and the characters, the higher my ratings are gonna get. So I need to buy the next book, but whenever I go to the bookstore, they always have book number 5. And I don't need book number 5, I need book number 3. And yesterday, we went shopping at a mall cities away from me. I was looking for Percy Jackson 3. They only had number 5. And like, what's up with that? Why does multiple bookstores only have book number 5? I need book number 3. And I don't want to order it online because I'm trying to like not buy too many books. As if I'm not going to film a book haul after this where I bought too many books. I can justify them all even while being on a book buying ban. Because I'm just going to say this right now. I put myself on a book buying ban. I've already mentioned that to you guys. But I made some exceptions. And I think I can justify every single book I bought yesterday. I think. Maybe. Anyways, moving on. The next book I read was a reread. Heartstopper Volume 1. I want to reread some of the books I read. At least the ones I read in 2021, 2022. Because now that I have a proper rating system, it's gonna be easier to like... compare my feelings towards each of the books. Because like some of the books I rated 5 stars are not 5 stars to me anymore. This one though, rated it 5 stars the first time I read it, and I rated it 5 stars the second time I read it. This is a comic, you probably know that. If you don't, then where have you been? I feel like everyone has either read or watched Heartstopper at some point. But this book follows Nick and Charlie. Charlie is a gay boy who's been like bullied for being gay, and then he meets Nick, who is supposedly the straight guy, sports guy. He's not. It's the point of the thing, I'm not spoiling anything. But it's basically them meeting, forming a friendship, falling in love, kind of. Wait. Yeah, boys fall in love, that's what it says on the back. I'm trying not to spoil, but I feel like it's kind of hard to know what I can say and what I cannot say, because there's like, the only thing it says on the back is boy meets boy, boys become friends, boys fall in love. And that is this story. You like experience their lives, really. I feel like this is more like character based than plot based, and I love it. They're so adorable, and I love the way Nick, like, he's portrayed, well, all of the sports people are like portrayed as the bad boys, kind of. So Charlie's friends are kind of hesitant towards Nick when Charlie talks about him. But he's just the biggest softie ever, and I love them. They're so adorable. The storytelling in this, so good. I was gonna say writing, but it's a comic. There's not a lot of writing. But I just think this whole story, so good. I think this is my favorite in the series. I'm not gonna say too much more about it, because it's a comic. There's not much to say. I need a break. My throat is hurting. I need to find something to drink, and then I'll be back. So on to book number 4. That is The Love Wager by Lynn Painter. I'm a big Lynn Painter fan. I've read almost every book she's put out. I think she has one more book. I might be wrong, but I think so. And this is... I forgot what I was gonna say. A lot of her popular books are YA romances. This is an adult romance. It's the second book in a standalone companion series. First book is Mr. Wrong Number. I read that last year, and I've owned this for a while. I've been very hesitant towards it. I was expecting this to be like very spice heavy. I don't know why. I feel like just every adult romance these days are very spice heavy, and recently I've been gravitating towards some more closed door, less spicy books. I'm not against spice, like I used to really love spice and I still do, but it's been a little too much recently for me. I need something more less spicy. With this one, it was spice in it, but it wasn't too much and it really fit into the story, which I really enjoyed. But basically, this book is about Jack and Hallie, who... Well, Jack is the brother of the main girl in Mr. Wrong Number. So with this one, we follow these two characters, and I'm so bad at explaining. I need to put this book down. Basically, these two people meet at a wedding. Jack is at the wedding, Hallie works as a bartender at the wedding. They meet, they have a one-night stand, then they meet later on a dating app. Like, she sneaks out of his room, and then they don't talk after that. But they meet on a dating app and they start like talking, and then they go on dates, and basically they make this plan together to go on dates at the same place. So if the date goes wrong, they can hang out after, so their whole night isn't wasted. And they make this wager to see who can find love first. So basically they're both like, none of them really wanted to be on this dating app, but their friends and family put them up to it. So they made this wager to make it more fun and to motivate them to actually go on dates. But basically, they do this, then they fall for each other. I usually don't say tropes in these videos, but if you want a good he falls first, Jack is the perfect book boyfriend. I love him so much. He's so good at communicating. Like, usually in these kinds of things, when there's tension, they ignore it or pretend it doesn't happen. He texted her and asked about it. Like, have you ever seen something like that? Because I haven't. And also the maturity of these characters, it's weird to say, but anyways, like when I haven't even gotten to that part yet. I need to stop. Throughout this book, I was so in love. He was jealous and it was so adorable, and I felt so bad for him because all I wanted was for him to be happy. But I was like there waiting for the third act conflict. I hate those usually, but I was like waiting for it. I needed this to happen just to hear him say, I didn't do it to win. I did it because I love you. It didn't happen exactly like that, but I got my moment. Like, I hate third act conflicts, and I know that they're always gonna be there in romance books. But it was done so well. Like, it didn't take up too much space, it was just a few pages. And also, Hiii. The way she didn't overreact immediately. Like, I feel like usually the female main character just goes crazy and gets really mad and runs away. She didn't. She was sitting there in the car with him thinking like, I feel this, but I also feel this, but what I want is this, before doing anything. And even then, she didn't run away. She asked him about it. She just asked, and it was so great. And like, obviously there's always this time apart, but that was just like 2 pages, and then they talked about it again. They were so good at communicating, and that made me so happy. And she was willing to listen to him, and I don't want to say too much, but like, she wasn't even mad about the thing. She was just mad that he didn't tell her, and I feel like I could relate to her in so many ways. It was just an amazing book, so I rated this 5 stars. I feel like usually I rate books 5 stars way too easily, and then I regret it later. But I was trying to think about this. I rated it 5 stars, and I was like, should it be lower? And I couldn't find a single thing wrong with this book. I loved it so much, and the pain I was feeling while reading it, like even in the good moments, I just felt everything so hard in my whole body. It's like aching, heartache for real. And I'm obsessed with this book. I love Lynn Painter, love her writing, I love the pacing. It's always such a quick read without just skipping through things. Like, we get everything in the perfect pacing. It's, oh, I love this book. 5 stars. And then the last book I read, another book that I've been very hesitant to pick up. I will explain all of that, but that is Checkmate by Ali Hazelwood. If you have been on my channel before, you will probably have heard me say that Ali Hazelwood is my favorite author. The Love Hypothesis was the first book that I really fell in love with. Usually she writes adult romances, and I've loved all of those. This is a YA romance. I think this is her first YA romance. So I was already a little hesitant because I didn't know how that was gonna go, because maybe her writing is different in this one. I don't know, like, all of her adult books are very spice heavy. You see a lot of the sexual tension. In this one, obviously that wasn't there. It was a little bit, but it wasn't. It was a very closed story. You got the mentions of it, but you didn't, like, you weren't there in the scenes. And I've seen so many mixed reviews of this book, because this book is basically about Mallory, who used to play chess all the time, and then she quit for some reason that we find out in this book. But she gets, like, asked to play one last game, so she does that, but she ends up playing against Nolan Sawyer, the most famous chess player in the world, like the best player in the world. And she wins. And that creates some drama and tension. And like, Nolan is a boy who usually gets really angry, doesn't lose. And then he loses to someone who hasn't played chess in years. And everyone's expecting him to be really mean about it. But he's so interested in her. And I just love him. The way he really wants to know her, and all he wants is to play with her chess. And it's just so fun. And if you watch my reading vlog, it's not up yet, but it's coming soon, of me reading that book. so many tears. This book broke me. I was crying so hard, and like I've never cried like this before in a book. I don't even know what to say, because in the beginning I was feeling much of the book hangover from The Love Wager after loving that, but this one, so good, so good, so good. And like I said, I was worried that the writing would be different since this is a YA romance. Still loved it just as much. It might even be my favorite Ali Hazelwood book, and it might even be up with my favorite books of all time. Because the tears that I felt and cried and everything, it was such a good book, and I'm so obsessed with it. I loved the characters. I loved the tension. It was definitely a slow burn, and I didn't think I liked slow burn because I'm very impatient, but it was so good, and I really enjoyed the development of the friendship and relationship between Mallory and Nolan, and all of the family stuff going on. So sad. One thing I'm gonna say though, that a lot of the reviews have been like this is very chess heavy, and it is. For me, that wasn't really a bad thing. I feel like I would have connected to the story a little bit sooner if I had understood chess. I don't, so like I didn't really understand everything that was going on. So I understand kind of what people are saying when they say it's too much chess, but I didn't think it was too much. I really enjoyed that part of the story actually. I just didn't understand everything. And also I would say that this isn't like a normal romance story where you get. It is, but I feel like it's more like the main thing is like a romance story between, well, a love story between Mallory and Chess, and then the love story with her and Nolan is on the side. But I really enjoyed this book. I really liked it. I feel like the way it's written is more of like a mixture of romance and women's fiction. Like the main point of this book is Mallory and her journey with herself and friendship and family. So it's not the typical rom-com. That's not what this is. I gave this one 5 stars as well. And I'm very happy that I read this book. And now I'm excited to read Bride by Ali Hazelwood. I didn't buy that immediately. Usually I would buy her books as soon as they come out. But I told myself that I had to finish this before I was allowed to buy her next book. So now that I've finally finished this, I bought Bride yesterday. I'm very happy. I love Ali Hazelwood. Love Wim Painter. Love Percy Jackson, and I love Poirot. I'm so happy with all the books I read this month, and even just talking about these books, I'm so excited to read more. I love books. I love reading. I love having a booktube channel. So I'm gonna wrap this video up so I can edit it and hopefully start another reading vlog. I'm just so excited to read this year. And the fact that I haven't been in like a real slump this year yet is so amazing. Hopefully there will be no slumps this year. So I'm gonna end this video here. I hope you enjoyed it. Please like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Peace out, lovers.